Hi everyone, I'm Miss Peer Editor, and today I'm battling ChatGPT to see who can write the better AP English Language and Composition Rhetorical Analysis essay. I've been teaching thousands of students how to earn a high score on this exam since I got a 5 in high school, so let's put my skills to the test. We'll be using the 2021 AP Lang Q2 prompt from the exam. Take a few minutes to pause this video and read it over. I'll also put a link to the prompt in the description. So I've already written my full essay without looking at ChatGPT. Now let's enter the full prompt into ChatGPT and see what it produces. So it seemed to output an introduction paragraph with a thesis, and it also analyzed 7 rhetorical strategies. I would say this looks more like an outline because there's not enough in each numbered section to constitute a full body paragraph. But we also have a conclusion at the bottom. Let's compare ChatGPT's essay to mine. Here's ChatGPT's introductory paragraph. In his address dedicating the Rosa Parks statue in the National Statuary Hall of the United States Capitol building on February 27, 2013, former President Barack Obama employs a variety of rhetorical choices to effectively convey his message. This first sentence essentially repeats the prompt. It's not in any way hurtful to include this, but ChatGPT could have summarized it more briefly and used that space to start describing what the speaker's message is. Through his careful use of rhetoric, Obama not only pays tribute to Rosa Parks, but also highlights the importance of individual courage and responsibility in driving social change. This box section clearly articulates the speaker's message. And here's the thesis statement. In his speech, Barack Obama employs rhetorical strategies such as ethos, pathos, and logos, along with storytelling and repetition, to honor Rosa Parks, emphasize her pivotal role in the civil rights movement, and inspire a sense of responsibility and courage among the audience. When looking at the AP Lang Q2 rubric, this would earn the thesis point because it answers the prompt. However, it's not the most effective thesis because the rhetorical strategies, especially ethos, pathos, and logos, need more detail. For example, instead of simply stating pathos, ChatGPT should have written an appeal to the audience's admiration, or another specific emotion. Also, there's an awkward sentence structure as shown by this underlined section. There's far too many commas in the sentence because it's divided into 2 halves, rhetorical strategies and their effects. To trim this down, ChatGPT should have paired each rhetorical strategy with its corresponding effect within each clause, or written one consolidated effect. Let's take a look at my intro. While dedicating a statue of Rosa Parks in the U.S. Capitol, President Barack Obama pays tribute to a woman who battled segregationist policies with a fierce resolve and inspires his audience to follow her example of humble leadership. This first part is a quick reference to the exigence, or what compelled Obama to make this speech, and the context, which is the time, place, and occasion of the speech. Exigence and context, along with purpose, are all aspects of the rhetorical situation. I have a video that explains what the rhetorical situation is and provides examples, so I'll put a link to that in the description. This line includes 2 potential purposes of this speech, and it's important to note that a speech can have more than one purpose. As the nation's first Black president, President Obama acknowledges Rosa Parks' impact on his own journey to the White House and lauds her efforts to defend the freedoms that Americans enjoy today. Here, we're connecting the contents of the speech to the speaker's own background, and this is yet another aspect of the rhetorical situation. In his speech, President Obama recounts anecdotes about Rosa Parks' activism, alludes to the Bible, and weaves together the legacies of various civil rights leaders to affirm that every American, regardless of position or status, has the power to drive change. Not only would this thesis earn the thesis point on the rubric, but it also describes rhetorical strategies in detail. I could have included individual effects on the audience, but I chose to end by stating one consolidated message of the speech, which is totally fine. Here are ChatGPT's body paragraphs. We're going to review 4 out of the 7 sections that ChatGPT produced. Here's the first one. Ethos. Obama establishes his credibility and authority as a former president of the United States. That's a strong topic sentence because it delineates the rhetorical strategy we're focusing on in this paragraph. By acknowledging the members of the Congressional Black Caucus and their role in making the statue's dedication possible, he demonstrates his respect for the political process and the contributions of others. That's some sophisticated commentary that characterizes the speaker as someone who appreciates those who have led before him. This appeals to ethos by associating him with esteemed leaders and emphasizing the importance of collective effort. That first part, this appeals to ethos, is awkwardly worded, but overall, the sentence clearly states the effect of the rhetorical strategy, and the phrase collective effort is well chosen. However, I feel as though ChatGPT could have taken this analysis further. It could have articulated that civil rights leaders have proven to President Obama that long-lasting change is possible, igniting his own ambitions. Number 2, pathos. The emotional appeal in Obama's speech is palpable. He uses storytelling to vividly describe the moment when Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on the bus. This second sentence seems disjointed from the topic of the paragraph because it started off with pathos but is now mentioning storytelling. By narrating her defiance in the face of injustice and the subsequent Montgomery bus boycott, he evokes empathy and admiration for Parks and those who stood with her. This evidence would be more powerful if ChatGPT had included an actual quote from the speech. Right now, it feels a bit too general. In this boxed portion, we have specific emotions that the audience feels, elaborating more on the rhetorical strategy. This emotional connection helps to underscore the significance of her actions and their impact on the civil rights movement. Here, ChatGPT missed a good opportunity to explain what the actual significance or impact of Rosa Parks' actions were. Students tend to make the same mistake on their own essays. To elaborate, ChatGPT could have written that Rosa Parks' protest demonstrated to the world that civil disobedience was an effective tactic in combating institutional discrimination. Number 4, storytelling. Obama skillfully weaves a narrative throughout the speech, focusing on key moments in Rosa Parks' life and the civil rights movement. That's a strong topic sentence. This storytelling approach engages the audience's imagination and helps them connect with the historical events and the individuals involved. For instance, the anecdote about Rosa Parks clutching her purse and staring out the window while waiting to be arrested paints a vivid picture of her courage and resolve. This whole section is an example of solid commentary because it describes the audience's thought process in response to the speech. Number 6, theological reference. Obama incorporates a biblical reference. For now we see through a glass darkly, to add depth to his message. This reference underscores the idea that sometimes people are blinded by their own biases or complacency, emphasizing the need to confront injustice. It's great that ChatGPT integrated the actual biblical quote here, and this highlighted portion is sophisticated commentary with elevated vocabulary. It actually explains a key theme about human nature within this speech. Now let's dissect my body paragraph. In my full essay, I wrote 3 body paragraphs, but I only included one here so that this video wouldn't be an hour long. The speaker invokes the Bible to imply that the struggle for justice is a universal theme in both religious texts and history. This works as a topic sentence, but it does not refer directly to the thesis. There should be some connection to how Rosa Parks inspired people to confront discrimination. Obama unravels the story of the Montgomery bus boycott, spearheaded by Rosa Parks, which caused the entire edifice of segregation, like the ancient walls of Jericho, to slowly come tumbling down. Here, I seamlessly integrated the evidence into my sentence. I have a video on how to smoothly segue into quotations and evidence, so I'll put a link to that in the description. Instead of writing the speaker states or the speaker says followed by the quote, I blended my quote right into my sentence. Let's continue. The speaker demonstrates that the civil rights movement was a campaign of biblical or immense proportions that required sacrifices from thousands who were determined to champion equality for Black Americans. Like leaders such as Moses, Jesus, and others, Rosa Parks led with courage and grit. Here we have detailed commentary that justifies the speaker's decision to allude to the Bible. Just as a preacher would speak about biblical figures with deference, President Obama adopts a reverent tone, which is apt for the dedication of a statue in a place that is considered a sacred symbol of democracy. Obama spotlights the pivotal role of religion in this movement, since the Bible served as a moral compass for civil rights leaders, many of whom were also leaders within churches. This part would definitely help me earn the sophistication point on the AP Lang rubric because it connects the tone to the context, which is part of the rhetorical situation. Notice how I use the word reverent to describe tone. You should always provide an adjective rather than simply stating that the speaker has a tone. Because I know some background information about the civil rights movement, I was able to expand upon the role of the church in this movement as well, adding even more depth. Obama also suggests that people often ignore the injustice happening right before our eyes, citing a biblical passage. For now we see through a glass darkly. Although humans should see through transparent glass without any issues, they tend to have selective vision when facing harsh realities. In this highlighted portion, we have a strong interpretation of a biblical quote. Rosa Parks did not succumb to this oblivious mindset, which the speaker compares to a state of fogginess in a simile that exposes human temptation to ignore inequality and violence. Something I did differently here was paraphrase my evidence. I mentioned a simile but didn't include the simile itself, and I combined this evidence with my commentary or analysis in the same sentence. Thus, society escapes culpability or guilt, but choosing to do nothing in the face of injustice is still a conscious decision. Through his simile, the speaker implicitly asks audience members whether they take action to prevent injustice in their daily lives. Here we're describing the overall effect on the audience. This theme of individual accountability indicates that people tend to place blame on those in positions of power, but the everyday person, too, shares responsibility for societal conditions. This last part is linked to the thesis statement because it refers to the power of individual, everyday Americans in their communities. It's time to compare our conclusions. Here's ChatGPT's last paragraph. In conclusion, Barack Obama's dedication speech for the Rosa Parks statue is a masterful example of effective rhetoric. In conclusion is a weak transition, and it should be removed altogether. And this whole sentence is certainly true, but it's implied. It doesn't really add anything. He pays tribute to a civil rights icon, illustrates the power of individual action in driving social change, and inspires a sense of responsibility and courage in his audience. This part effectively summarizes the purposes and message of this speech. Through his use of ethos, pathos, logos, storytelling, repetition, and a theological reference, he conveys a powerful and enduring message of hope, activism, and the enduring impact of one woman's courageous stand. Here we're restating the thesis, and again, it's too long-winded, but it gets the job done and has a strong ending. Now, here's my conclusion. Imbuing the statue of Rosa Parks with greater significance, President Obama references the Bible, tells stories about Parks herself, and pays tribute to leaders of the past and present. This whole sentence restates my thesis with different wording. In this underlined section, I referred to the exigence. We have to remember that Obama is making this speech because he's dedicating the statue. A symbol of individual responsibility, The statute serves as a reminder that a single person has the power to draw attention to a problem, advance legislation, and redirect a nation's course. This is probably one of the strongest parts of my essay because it connects the exigence to the message and describes what exactly the statute represents. It's interesting that ChatGPT makes little reference to the statue itself throughout the essay, even though it's the central object. President Obama stresses that Park's work is not done, since inequality and injustice are still prevalent today. With this message, he galvanizes all Americans to start tackling issues within their communities. I like to conclude my essays by mirroring the speaker's conclusion, so I ended with the main takeaway from the speech, which is a call to action. Let's list the pros and cons of each essay. ChatGPT's essay has a thesis that answers the prompt, strong points of analysis, elegant wording in some cases, a clearly defined message, and connections to different aspects of the rhetorical situation. In terms of cons, there's a lack of clear evidence, so not enough quotes. Some rhetorical strategies are too broad, including ethos and pathos, and the thesis is a bit clunky. There are also weak transitions or no transitions, probably because the output wasn't exactly a full essay, which meant that the commentary was also not fully developed in robust paragraphs. For my essay, the pros are that the thesis answers the prompt. I included detailed and specific rhetorical strategies, I integrated my evidence well, and there was strong commentary along with connections to different parts of the rhetorical situation. My conclusion explains the speech's takeaway and the statue's symbolism, and overall, my essay is structurally sound. I have full body paragraphs with transitions. The cons include that topic sentence which is disconnected from the thesis, and I think that overall I could have elaborated more on the effects on the audience. The very last sentence of the essay is also not as impactful as ChatGPT's. When looking at both essays, however, it's important to keep in mind that I didn't include the full text, so the other body paragraphs in both ChatGPT's essay and my essay would have probably made them both even stronger. I do think that my essay was better than ChatGPT's looking at these two lists, but I would love to hear what you think in the comments. Let me know how you would score each essay, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Miss Peer Editor, and I'll see you next time.